Welcome to Purple Pond YouTube channel. Taxation is a subject which raises the anxiety level in everyone, and mutual fund taxation is no exception. Whenever we talk about taxation, the concepts of taxation are so confusing and people just leave it to the auditors to decide. Through this video, we will try to examine what are the taxation aspects of mutual fund as on date and how is it going to impact your returns from mutual funds. Here we will deal with how the resident Indian returns are going to be taxed and as well as how the non-resident Indian returns are going to be dealt with. Before getting on to the taxation aspect, let's try to understand what are the incomes that would be taxed, or how are the incomes going to be classified for taxation purpose. Incomes are classified as income from salaries, a pension, income from business or profession, income from house property, income from mutual fund gains, and income from other sources. The mutual fund returns are classified on the fourth category, the capital gains from mutual funds. Let's look at how the mutual fund gains would be taxed when you are investing into equity or debt mutual fund schemes. Here, for taxation purpose, mutual fund schemes are classified as equity whenever the mutual fund scheme invests at least 65% of its amount into Indian equities. The taxation is dealt as equity taxation or debt taxation. Let's look at if an investor invests and stays invested for less than 36 months in debt scheme, then the gain arising out of that is classified as short-term capital gains. This short-term capital gains is taxed at the nominal rate of taxation or slab rate of taxation of the individual investor. If the same investor has invested into debt funds and he has stayed investor for more than 36 months, then the gains arising out of that is termed as long-term capital gains. The long-term capital gains will be subjected to tax after allowing for indexation benefit. This indexation benefit substantially reduces the taxation, which we will look at through an example. Coming to the equity taxation, when an investor invests into equity schemes and stays invested for less than 12 months, the gains arising out of that is termed as short-term capital gains from equity schemes. Short-term capital gains are taxed at a special rate of 15%. This special rate of 15% is irrespective of the slab rate of taxation in which the investor is in. So, any tax arising out of a short-term equity will be taxed at 15% irrespective of the slab rate. The next tax would be like if the investor is staying investor for more than 12 months in equity scheme, the taxation would be at 10% of the gain over and above 1 lakh. This also we will see through an example. Debt mutual fund, let's assume an investor who has invested 1 lakh on 10th December 2017 withdraws the amount on 10th November 2020, which has not completed 3 years. The 20,000 rupees, if he has invested 1 lakh and redeems 1 lakh 20,000 rupees, this 20,000 rupees will be classified as short term and would be taxed at his rate of taxation. Suppose if he is in 30%, it will be 6,000 rupees plus the educational and secondary educational thereof. The same debt fund investor, if he has invested a lakh of rupees on 10th December 2017 and redeems it on 15th December 2020, completing 3 years of investment, then this 20,000 rupees, the gain which is called the long-term capital gains, will be taxed at 20% after allowing for indexation. This cost inflation index is the number announced by the income tax department on a yearly basis. Based on those calculations, the tax for this particular 20,000 will amount to 1,867 rupees irrespective of the tax slab. So here you can look at the tax getting substantially reduced compared to a FD investment. An FD investment for a 30% bracket person would have costed him 6,000 rupees plus the educational cess. Here, even for the 30% tax slab percent, the taxation is at 1,867 rupees only. The next category we will look at is equity taxation. Let's assume somebody has invested 1 lakh rupees on 10th December 2019 and withdrawn the amount on 10th November 2020, 20,000 rupees gain. This 20,000 rupees gain would be termed as short-term capital gain and will be taxed at the rate of 15%, which is 3,000 rupees, irrespective of which slab you are in. Let's look at the long-term capital gains. If somebody has invested 1 lakh rupees on 10th December and redeemed 1,20,000 rupees on 15th December, then this 20,000 rupees is classified as long-term capital gains and it will be taxed at 10% of the gain. This 10% gain also applies after a gain of 1 lakh during the financial year. Suppose the person does not have any other gain and this only 20,000 is there, then he will not have to pay any tax. Let's look at that in the example. If an investor has invested 10 lakh rupees on 10th December and redeemed 12 lakh rupees on 15th December, the gain of 2 lakhs will be taxed as first 1 lakh will be tax free and the balance 1 lakh will be taxed at the rate of 10%, giving the overall taxation as 10,000 rupees only for a gain of 2 lakh rupees. Whatever we discussed are the taxation structure for resident individual. Now we are going to look at how is it taxed for the non-resident Indians. By looking at the screen, your eyebrows are up, saying that this is the same screen which we saw for resident Indian. You are right. The taxation structure is same for resident and non-resident Indian. The only mode of collection of tax differs. For resident Indian, the resident Indian is allowed to state his gain and file the income tax and pay the tax. For non-resident Indian, this is deducted at source. The tax is deducted at source at the highest tax bracket and non-resident Indian is expected to file return and claim the gain as refund. Let's look at both resident Indian and non-resident Indian investing 10 lakh rupees on 1st January 2017 and redeeming it on 25th December 2019, by which they have not completed the 36 months. So the gain which they are going to get would be classified as short-term capital gains arising out of debt investment. If this is the case, the non-resident Indian will pay a tax of 6,240 arising from the gain of 20,000 rupees. Let's look at resident Indian with the same investment of 10 lakhs invested on 1st January 2017, redeemed on 25th December 2019. We'll also have the 20,000 rupees as capital gain, which will again get classified as short-term capital gain, but the 20,000 rupees is paid in full to the resident Indian. What resident Indian is expected to do is, during his time of filing the taxes, he is supposed to state this income and pay the taxation as per his slab rate. Let's assume both Indian and non-resident Indian, both of them, they don't have income measuring up to the threshold taxation level. In that case, the non-resident Indian will show a taxable income of 1,80,000 rupees. The tax on the income would be zero, but he has already paid, he has been deducted a TDS of 6,240. So tax deducted at source will be 6,240. So the refund due from this exercise will be 6,240. In case of a resident Indian, he has income which is less than the threshold, so he need not pay any tax. He does not have any TDS, so there is no refund also for him. So when you draw this tax filing and look at both of them have not paid any tax because they are less than the threshold income. Let's look at the same example with an income which is crossing the threshold taxation limit. Let's assume 10 lakh invested on 1st January 2017 and redeemed on 25th December 2019. same 20,000 is the gain. Let's assume including this 20,000, both of them have 6 lakh rupees as their total income chargeable under tax. In that case, 32,500 will be the tax payable, and for the non-resident Indian, 6,240 would have been deducted as TDS. Non-resident Indian will state this TDS as in the tax filing, and he will pay 26,260. In case of resident Indian, he has not been deducted any TDS, so he will have to pay the 32,500 in full. So in this case also, if you look at it, at the end of tax filing, both of them, both Indian and non-resident Indian, both of them will pay the required tax of 32,500 as per their tax slab. So it is to be inferred from this example that both resident and non-resident Indians will have the same taxation structure of returns from mutual funds. Lot of apprehensions are there with non-resident Indian clients. Friends, do not worry, the taxation is same for both Indian residents and non-resident Indians. So please do not believe the rumor mongers or people who want to create a apprehension in your mind that whenever you invest into mutual funds, you will be taxed, all income will be taxed, and you will have to subject yourself to a lot of deduction from the gains that you get from mutual funds. This is not the case. These examples, I think, will suffice to convince you that you are no way paying extra compared to a resident Indian. Thank you for watching this. Me and my team will be happy hand-holding you on these taxation issues. Feel free to contact us for your tax related queries on mutual fund transaction. Thank you.